in history there have been these mass extinction events, and we're now in one. When the rate of extinction goes up incredibly high, there's sort of this big purge. And I think with humans, we often talk about wanting to save the world when actually, in the long term, the planet, it's going to be just fine. It's just whether or not we exist, or whether we exist on a place that's actually, nice to be. We're not just sort of surviving.
I think that's where the groups that do these things have done really well. They have sort of participated in making us think of it as save the world, which then arrogantly puts us at the center of it again in the wrong way. It's like, do you want to save the world? And it's like, all right, world, if you need me, I'll save you. Then it's like, no, my friend, no.
Yes.
Do you want to be alive? This is What Now with Trevor Noah. Oh, man. All right, so now I can ask you the question. So where are you coming from?
Mexico.
All right. What were you doing in Mexico?
So I was filming for a new project for Disney Plus, which that one is under NDA. So I won't be allowed
so you
to
can't
talk
tell
about
us.
that one. No, that one's a secret.
About cartels.
You have the most wholesome NDAs of anybody I know, by the way. Other people who have NDAs is the drug cartel, the settlement, this whole thing. And then with Bertie, it's like, I have an NDA. Oh, why, Bertie? It involves penguins.
Penguin secrets.
Penguins
we can't give away the penguin
whales
secrets.
and cheetahs and just cute little animals, and I can't tell you their stories. So first of all, welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for coming. Just to give people a bit of context, even Eugene, everyone, Bertie is one of my favorite explorers in the world.
You've been excited the whole day.
I genuinely have.
Yeah,
I've been excited for a long time because when I first met Bertie, I met him at a conference type thing, and it was a room full of CEOs. These are cold, heartless human beings.
Hold on there, Luigi.
That was nice. That was very nice. It was cold. I'm talking about cold calculated. Show me the KPIs and the, you know what I mean, and the return on investment, ROIs,
Lots
and the
of TLAs.
It's
flying
all that,
around. Yeah.
all of those things. And then Bertie steps up on stage, and he goes, "I'm going to play you a little video." And all the other videos have been growth, numbers, expansion. And then Bertie comes up and he's like, allow me to play your video. And it's like, quack, 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 quack. And it's like animals. And you see people in the room start going onto their phones to check the stock market real quick. And then 10 seconds in, everyone's phones go down.
Yeah.
And I think the first one you played for us might have been the whales, or it might, the first one I saw of yours. And let me tell you something. I cannot tell you that I've had more experiences where I've felt like I've been transported to a completely different world than when I've watched the films that this man makes. Even snippets of them transform you to another world, make you think of animals completely differently. In fact, I would...
The best thing is, it is our world. And I think that's the coolest thing, is that...
Maybe that's why you make it so... How would you describe what you do? Do you think of yourself an explorer, documentarian? What would you say you do?
I think my job is to get people excited about the natural world and aware of some of the challenges it faces. And I think most importantly, understand that looking after wildlife isn't just something that's a nice thing to do because penguins are cute.
Yeah.
We need it for so many things we rely on, and if nature's not healthy, we're not healthy. So it's, I guess, trying to dispel the myth that, sort of, looking after nature is at odds with enterprise and all the things that you were listing.
The money side of thing. So, okay, do me a favor. Actually, play me any, an old video, anything that you have. Just
okay.
Because...
Well, we started with the whales.
Yeah.
Oh, let me find the whales. Yeah.
So you know how the best video on your phone is probably
Yay. Hey, my man, you don't know my life. 2 words.
Okay.
Tucked
So
in.
Dine cloaca.
All right. So what is this?
animal reproductive systems really
What
trick.
is this?
Okay. So what you're looking at here, this is a gathering of whales in Antarctica, and
What was the occasion?
each one of a big party. Each one of those whales is 25 meters long. So what's that?
We use meters.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. Okay.
Just
cool.
say, let everyone else figure it out for themselves.
Very long, about double the length of a Greyhound bus. That's a nice
That's
Yeah.
way
each
of thinking
one.
about it. Yeah.
So every time you see this little fountain, the blowhole.
So yeah, each one, these are fin whales. They're the second largest whale in the world. And we went down to Antarctica, spent a lot of time rolling around on a boat, feeling very sick. But we ultimately managed to film the largest gathering of fin whales ever recorded. There were 300 of them together. And this was not only an amazing thing to witness, because it's just loads of massive whales, but it's one of the kind of greatest conservation success stories of our time, because these whales were hunted to the brink of extinction during the whaling era.
Yeah.
And now they're making this incredible comeback. And yeah, that's exciting, not just because, like penguins are cute, and whales are awesome,
right.
but because of so many other reasons. You know, the whales in Antarctica, that's not just a great thing. They're coming back for Antarctica, but, you know, new science is telling us that whales are really good at capturing carbon through a couple different processes. And so if we want to, fight climate change, save the world, yes, we should plant loads of trees because they're good at capturing carbon, but we also need to help the whales come back.
Wait. I need you to explain this.
Okay.
Whales capture carbon?
Right. So, couple different processes. The first reason that whales are really good at capturing carbon is because they go around their whole life eating food, eating carbon essentially, and then when they die, they sink to the bottom of the ocean. And some of them get eaten at the surface, but a lot of their bodies, it traps that carbon deep down in the bottom of the ocean. So that's
I've never thought of where whales die.
Right. Yeah, they sink. Whale
sink.
fall.
No, but I never thought of, I don't know why I never thought of like where
they go.
whales.
deep.
You've probably never seen a full episode of my 600-pound life, no? I'm so sorry.
No, you're good. Should we just move on?
I'm so...
So,
But the second process, which is much more interesting, is this thing called the whale pump.
yes.
Okay, so let me try and break.
Okay, wait.
Activate worst part of Eugene's brain. Activate worst part of Eugene's brain.
And it's nothing to do with reproduction.
Okay.
So in the ocean,
Yeah.
in the deep, you have lots of cold, nutrient-rich water. Okay, there's a lot of nutrients in the deep.
Okay, got it.
Part of the problem is that at the surface, the place where the light hits, it's called the photic zone. So the light hits lots of microscopic plants in the water column near the surface. The light's hitting them, but they lack some really important nutrients in order to grow.
Okay.
So they have light from the sun, but they need these key nutrients. So what the whales do is that they eat at depth, and then they have to come up to the surface to breathe.
Right.
And when they're at the surface, they can't poop when they're under pressure at depth.
Okay.
They have to come up to the surface, and that's where they poop. So they have been feeding in the deep, eating all those key nutrients that is missing in the surface. They then swim to the surface, breathe, take a big poop, and they fertilize that surface layer. So it kicks off the food chain.
The photon zone.
In the photic zone, exactly. So actually you'd think, okay, if the whales come back, they're going to eat all of the krill. But actually, it's kind of the opposite. It's like the krill. It's like this paradox in that the more whales there are, the more krill that they eat, the more they're coming up to the surface and fertilizing the surface layer. That creates more phytoplankton, the little microscopic plants. The krill eat the phytoplankton. So there's more whales, and it just goes on and on and on. So it's this amazing runaway train.
It's amazing.
And I could have explained that in much fewer words
but
and much
that's-
better, but you get the idea.
You see, it can't be better. So this is what I think. This is what I think makes it exciting. Is one, you're like really passionate about it, but two, you connect the dots between these worlds that don't seem connected in any way, shape, or form. Like for instance, the significance of the whales is something that I think most people miss out on. The significance of most animals, to be honest with you. You know what I mean? A lot of the like nature documentaries that I watched as a kid, they were just about an animal. in isolation in a way. This lion is trying to hunt and it's going to go and get this zebra.
Yeah.
That's the story.
In a faraway place, the end.
Yeah, that was it. Oh, for me, it wasn't a faraway place. It was like next door. But it's true, though. It's like,
yes,
this is what they're doing.
It's true. He grew up in the middle of the Serengeti.
No, hey, you know what I'm talking about. How far were lions from you?
Very close.
Exactly. So my point, I'm not saying like next door, but you know
relatively
what I'm saying.
speaking.
It wasn't like another world for us. It was like, that's what's happening there. But what your work does is it tells that story, but then it goes into the deeper layers that connect us to these animals, and then how the environment is connected to them, and how the environment connects to us, and then how it plays back. Like, why was it significant that those 300 whales were meeting?
Yeah.
And you were capturing that? What was the significance of that encounter?
Yeah.
I think the key thing was that, you know, during the whaling era, whales, as I said, were hunted to the brink of extinction. And I remember I visited this island in the South Atlantic called South Georgia, and that was sort of the epicenter for Southern Ocean whaling. So that was where a lot of the whaling ships were based, and that's where they brought a lot of the whales they hunted in Antarctica back to process the blubber and, you know, all that stuff. And I remember reading the logs from the whalers when they were there.
From the ships.
Exactly. And they would talk about there being so many whales in these bays that they were hunting in that you could have walked across their backs. Just like mind-boggling numbers of whales. And that got me thinking, I found that really depressing, in that like, I'll like, that's all gone. Like, I'll never get to see that. But then however many decades on, you know, the world came together and protected whales in the 70s, and now, you know, what's that, 50, 60 years on from that ban, the whales are starting to make a comeback, and of course they're not even close to what their original numbers were, but the idea that you can now go to Antarctica and see these, you know, biblically large gatherings of whales. You know, I go around the world and I realize I'm super fortunate to see animals doing amazing things, but everywhere I go, the guide, the scientist, the local person, they always say, what you've seen on this expedition you've just done is amazing, but you should have seen how much more amazing it was 10, 20, 30 years ago.
Sad.
But in Antarctica with the whales, seeing that gathering of 300 whales, no one's seen that for over 100 years. Like, it hasn't been that good for more than 100 years. And isn't that so cool? Like, the world is so full of doom and gloom that we can get it right. Yeah. Like, and when we do, wildlife comes back on this like mind-boggling scale, and not only is it cool to look at, but it helps us as humans.
So wait, is that why whales turned into assholes?
Break that down for me.
So, I mean, like, you know, we've been reading all these stories and seeing these things. I think it's the orcas.
The killer whales off the,
Just like going, by the way, why are they called killer whales? It's because it's not because they kill us, right?
I think it's actually from the translation. It's sort of been mistranslated. It's actually whale killers. So some killer whales hunt whales. And so they're the whale killers.
Oh, damn. Yeah. So they're not they're killers of whales.
But I mean,
they're killing.
Technically.
But everything is killing, but technically.
Dolphins don't.
Well, they kill fish. What do you mean?
They don't kill smiles.
But I'm glad you're here. We're going to have every argument Eugene and I have about animals.
Yes,
you're going to settle it today.
But the other thing is...
Shaved chimpanzees. We'll save that for later.
And the killer whales are actually the largest dolphin.
Yes.
They're a big dolphin. Yeah, they are a toothed whale. The odontocetes is the Latin fancy word.
Everything I believed about anything is just going
But anyway, coming back to your question...
But the asshole, like, what I'm saying is, like, do we know why they're attacking boats and why this is happening around the world?
Yeah, so there's a couple different theories. The first thing I'd say that it's not happening around the world. It's happening in one place. It's one pod. I would say...
So it's a gang?
Yeah, it's one family, yeah.
Oh, okay. Boat killers.
So there's a couple different theories. The first thing to say is if you actually watch most of the videos...
Yeah.
These killer whales are just swimming up to the boats and being very curious and sort of bumping them, and it's not attacking, they're just being curious. However, there are some that they're actually sinking the boats by, you know, headbutting them. I mean, they are, I guess, attacking them.
Do we know enough about the whales to know if, like, to your point, attacking not... Could they be like playing a prank on us?
Okay, so a couple theories. One that is quite interesting is that the killer whales there, some of them hunt bluefin tuna.
Yeah.
And they have basically learned that when they hear certain boat noises of fishing boats, they're like, "Ooh, dinner bell! Why would I chase one of the fastest fish in the sea when some dude over there is just caught a bunch on a hook and take out, you know, easy meal?" So they came over, and the fishermen in the past, I'm sure it still goes on, shoot at them, and so you could see how the steps would create whereby, okay, one gets shot by shot in the face, it gets angry, it rams a boat, it sinks and goes, this is a thing you can do.
And they're highly intelligent creatures,
They're also highly intelligent. So it could be that that's not true. And actually it's just that one time they, accidentally bumped a boat and it sank and they went, well, that was entertaining. So let's do that some more. I think the idea that it's like they're like killer whales trying to attack and kill people is just ridiculous.
So this brings up another question that I've always had, and that is, can animals be assholes? Like when you go and you track animals and you watch them, and are animals just being animals, or do you see some animals where you're like, oh no, that one is being an asshole?
I mean, I guess. Yeah, I guess so.
Skunks are assholes. Why would you say that?
They're just defending themselves from people and
with their
big things. Thank
you.
No, but why would you think it's? I'll tell you a story, and maybe you can demystify this as well. If you heard about. So one of the stories where I started thinking there's a possibility that animals could be assholes was. There was a couple that was hiking in somewhere, I think in the US. It was like off on one of those mountain trails, blah blah blah, and they got attacked by a bear. Right, so they came across a bear, and then it was that whole thing like play dead, whatever. So they like tried to play dead. Then the bear was
it
like,
never worked in the Revenants.
Yeah. Then the bear was like, not cool, guys, not cool. And then the bear started like mauling them, whatever. So they tell the story. So the husband was like, all right, go. Told the wife like, run, I'll fight the bear.
Yeah.
And then the wife ran. Then the husband was like, wow. Then you can't fight a bear.
Obviously,
you can just like distract, I guess, whatever.
Entertain it.
You can entertain it. Yeah. You can receive and entertain. Yes, you can receive the punishment and you can entertain the bear. And this happens. At some point, he's basically knocked unconscious. The bear stops and is like, wait, where did that lady go? Then the bear runs off, attacks the woman, mauls her. Then when she's also like sort of like passed out, then goes back to the guy, then like goes back and forth. And then luckily they survived, but like the bear like mauled them. But I remember going like, that bear might be an asshole. Okay. Or is there something we missed?
No, let's break that one down. So when you see in the news, a wild animal has attacked a human.
Yeah.
The vast majority of the time, it is because the human has done something wrong. So they have got in between a mother and its cubs. They have backed an animal into a corner. They have misread an animal's body language. They have done the wrong thing. So the first thing I'd say is it's very easy to kind of pin it on the animal and go, the animal attacked the human.
Yeah.
Let's just clarify that there are a very small number of cases whereby it was wrong place, wrong time.
Yeah.
And what I would say to sort of, I guess, humor your thing of some animals assholes. Like animals have personalities, and some are incredibly intelligent, and they do like have bad days.
Okay, I like this.
So you can meet an elephant, for example, in the morning, and it's very polite and does its thing, and you're there and it's there and happy days. And then this afternoon, it might
broke up with his girlfriend.
Well, maybe it had his ass kicked by a bigger elephant or whatever, and then it's a completely different animal.
Now it's a single elephant with a huge memory.
You laugh about this, but like I remember going on a game drive, and a friend of mine is a game ranger, and he was telling me about how elephants display many of the similar characteristics that we do in our society. And one of them is, if a group of young male elephants don't have like an older father figure elephant, they just get up to mischief. They destroy trees. They go like hunt rhinos. They just like kill rhinos. They like do, and then they had to bring in an older male elephant, and then there was just order. And the older man was
your
like,
stepfather.
Basically they brought a stepfather, and he was like, you don't be doing that shit in his house, boy.
Me and your mom
been talking about your actions, boy.
But they need like the wise old dude, because elephants are famed as being this incredible matriarchal society where the female led herds, and we very often don't really talk about the social systems involved with the males. It's just this big bull that comes in all horny one day and has his way, and then goes off and does male elephant
because
things.
he goes off by by himself most of the time, right?
The males have these bachelor herds, and you're exactly right that yeah, if you get these groups of young bulls, they're often the ones that are causing all the mischief, crop raiding and all sorts. You can see the cogs turning, can't you? Desperately whirring for an innuendo.
Males by themselves in the bush.
You had me. You had me at hello.
So what do they do?
But coming back to whether animals are assholes, I mean, again, this is a very anthropomorphic viewpoint. But like some, I've seen male dolphins go around in these male groups, and they'll just go up to like a young male dolphin and do very naughty things to it, and you're like, was that really necessary? But they've got this incredibly complex social system, and I think trying to compare ours, if you look at their social systems through our lens, it's very easy to go, well, you're being an asshole. But
I have often thought this. I've often thought to myself, like, like people will say things about dolphins. They'll be like, oh, dolphins sexually assault and dolphins do all these things. That's what people will say.
Which people...
No,
Hey, why did you defend him, Bertie?
You gotta defend me, Bertie. This is otherwise.
He was up there, a creek without a paddle.
But then I wonder, to your point, if you are observing something from your point of view and you don't have the full context, you don't know what's happening, right?
Yeah.
So, like, if animals were to see us engaging in S&M, they would also go back and report and be like, "Yo, the humans, man.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I just watched this movie, 50 Shades of Grey. It's terrible.
That's all they do.
It's terrible what they're doing to each other. You wouldn't. So maybe that's like an interesting place to delve into with your work. How do you discern between like the animal world and what the animals are experiencing, and how we perceive what the animals are experiencing and what's going on in their world?
Yeah, it's an interesting thing to think about, because I guess one thing is, nature documentarians, we're often accused of anthropomorphizing things, but our job is to connect people with the natural world. So to a certain extent, you have to sort of make comparisons to our world to sort of get people engaged.
So we feel connected.
You find the underdog or the whoever. I think the other thing is, when we're trying to get close to an animal without disturbing it, we want to film natural behavior, so we want to make sure the animal either doesn't know that we're there, or that it knows we're there and it's kind of accepting of our presence. And a big part of that is being able to read animal body language. And just like we humans have a set of body languages, lots of animals do. I mean, we talked about crocodiles just before we started recording. They have very little body language. Their resting bitch face is very similar to their I love you face. So let's park those. But in the case of, say, sharks or wolves, they're a great one, because they're very closely related to our pet dogs. So we're very good at, I think, in naturally interpreting wild wolf body language. But when we walk into a bar and we want to figure out like where to sit, you look around and subconsciously you're analyzing everyone's behavior, and if someone's bright red in the face and clenched fists or whatever, stay away from them. And then there's the smiley guy in the corner or whatever, I'm going to go sit next to him. Sharks, leopard seals, lions, they all have a set of body languages, of cues, and it's our job to interpret those cues so that we can, film them so that we're safe and they're safe, and also try and interpret what they're going to do next. And that's what I love, is that I found when I was starting out, I was crawling around. I grew up in Reading, near London, and it wasn't a particularly wild place. I lived near some farmers' fields. I used to go into the farmers' fields and kind of try and sneak up on deer and badgers and kingfishers and whatever. And everyone thought I was weird. I was like, 13, 14, when you should be, I don't know, trying to talk to girls or something. And I found that because I was starting to sort of by accident learn how to sneak up on these animals, I had my eyes open to this incredible world, all these dramas going on the whole time that everyone just walks past and has no idea. So it's not as far as sort of Dr. Dolittle being able to talk to the animals, but you sort of have like this ability to interpret animal behavior that most people don't have, and so you get this secret window into this other world.
So when you're out there, would you say you have an ability to disappear into their world? Like, is there, because I've always wondered this about nature documentaries, is I'm like, I've seen sometimes people just like lie in the same place forever. Sometimes you leave a camera behind. Sometimes how real / untouched is a nature documentary when you're making it? How much influence are you having over it? How much, so like when the animal sees you or doesn't see you, or can you do something with your body language to let a lion know, like, we're cool, I'm just here to film you killing stuff?
So what's really amazing about filming things like lions, sort of a safari setup where you're in a vehicle, is that we benefit from the fact that some very smart people have been habituating lions and wild dogs and cheetahs and all those savanna animals to a vehicle. Mm-hmm. And so they are completely aware that the vehicle's there. They can see it, they can smell it, they can hear it. Mm-hmm. But because it has been in their landscape for their entire life and their mother's life and their grandmother's life, you are just part of the landscape. So someone has done a bunch of hard work that we're then benefiting from. Often we go to places where the animals are, have never seen people before. And so a big part of the shoot is not filming, it's either hiding from the animal, figuring out how to get close and hide, or habituating the animal to our presence so that it knows we're there and is accepting of that. I mean, in the case of underwater filming, for example, on land, often if you're hiding from the animal, you can be in a little tent and you can be a couple 100 meters away with a really powerful zoom lens. Mm-hmm. Underwater, you're limited by the visibility of the water. Mm-hmm. So if the water, you can only see 20 meters, well, you're not doing any hiding. Like, the animal's going to know that you're there. So you need to figure out, okay, how do I behave so that the animal is relaxed with me? I mean, one of my favorite animals to film is the leopard seal. They're these, they look like dragons. Yeah. And they live in Antarctica, and they can be absolutely enormous. And they have a very similar skull to a grizzly bear. So they're just this amazing top predator. Well, not top predator. Killer whale can eat them because killer whales are...
Because killer whales kill.
Yeah, they're badasses.
We got this.
So, so with them, I mentioned that all animals have personalities and they have different days. It's sort of like a lucky dip when you get in the water with a leopard seal. You see this leopard seal and you're like, okay, I'm going to get in, and very quickly I'm going to learn whether this is a leopard seal that is friendly, is not pleased to see me. You just never know, and you learn very quickly. And sometimes you get out immedately because you're like, okay, that one didn't like me here. Yeah. And some start very shy, and then in the space of an hour you can sort of kind of flirt with them and get, like, sort of pretend you're not interested in them. Sort of, they know where you're looking, so you kind of turn away, face your back, and they come sneak up on you, and then you go boo. And it's amazing that you can have this interaction with an animal that may never have seen a human being before, but you can read its body language, and even cooler, it can read yours. You're not just a weird alien human. It's like, oh no, it knows where you're looking. It knows whether they often mirror your state. So it's really important that you're really chill. Yeah. So they're really chill. If you get in the water, I've been in the water, taken other people down there that have never seen a leopard seal before, and I take them in the water and they're really on edge, and I hate it because the leopard seal's really on edge.
Oh, wow.
It can, and then that person, you get them out of the water and it's just me and the leopard seal. Suddenly, leopard seal's a different animal. It's like, oh yeah, Sketchy Steve is out of the water now. We're cool. You can't trust Sketchy Steve. So yeah,
I think I've been a Sketchy Steve.
Yeah, you've been.
I've been a kid. I'm still a Sketchy Steve.
Thank you.
Yeah.
No, because I can't just find myself. So I'm always stuck in the loop. People will be like, just relax. Then I'm like, I would be relaxed if there wasn't this wild animal here. Then they're like, yes, but you relax. And then the thing is, I then remember videos I've seen of people who were too relaxed and didn't notice a shift in something. And then all of a sudden, life is not going well for them. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
So I don't know. Like, are you comfortable around animals, like fully?
Party animals? A bit sketchy.
Never trust the party animal.
Never trust the party animal. But I've always been... I love animals, but from a distance. But I've always been fascinated by animals that come close to resembling human beings. So gorillas, chimpanzees. And I've often wondered, because I've once seen this video of chimpanzees hunting monkeys. Mm-hmm. That for me was the scariest thing ever. Have you ever had an experience like that of seeing those chimpanzees?
I've never seen that. Yeah, there's a very famous troupe. It's I think it's called the Ngogo troupe. And yeah, there's I'm not sure how big it is now, but at a time it was this enormous troop of chimpanzees. There was like 50 or 60 chimps living together, and they'd go and set very clever traps to eat colobus monkeys.
Wait, what? See, those are assholes. Surely they're assholes.
Well, I mean, why does eating monkeys why does that make them?
Okay, why are all the other monkeys not doing this? Or why are all the other chimpanzees not doing it? Is my question rather.
Well, so it's really interesting because they don't do it all the time. It's sort of, okay, yes, it's a very rich source of protein that they do, but most of the time they're eating fruits and things. And I think it's actually it's a huge sort of it's almost a ceremonial thing for them. Like they get amped and excited that it's a troop bonding exercise. It's not just we're going to go out and get some food.
There's designated roles. There's some who go and chase, shake down the tree, and some who wait for the monkey to fall down. Then also when the monkey falls down and gets killed, there's also pieces that get divvied up.
And who gets the meat
what
first? It's, they're giving out favors.
I've always
for
wondered
dominance
why
hierarchy.
you're like that when we go out to like restaurants and stuff. Then
Are you part of the Ngongo?
Then you're like, Eugene will be like, Trevor, you shake the table, and then Ryan's gonna order, and then
Someone set the trap.
I'm gonna eat the first piece. I've always wondered where you got that from. Okay. Don't go anywhere, because we got more What Now after this. This episode is brought to you by our friends at SurveyMonkey. Eugene, I don't know if you've ever thought of starting a business, but every time I think about people who start businesses, I'm like, man, you need a specific kind of bravery. And by bravery, I mean terrifying uncertainty. Because think about it. Right now, everywhere in the world, there are people making massive life-altering decisions based entirely on a vibe. Just a feeling in their gut.
That was me when joining the podcast.
You know what I mean? But what if you actually knew the truth when you started a business? What if you knew your direct reports weren't just nodding along, but actually had thoughts that they were too polite to tell you? Or what if you knew that your best customers were already halfway out the door to a competitor? Because let's face it, we like to say follow your heart, but in business, ignorance is a very expensive hobby. The good news, Eugene, is that SurveyMonkey takes the fear out of asking and the doubt out of deciding. It's the difference between walking into a meeting with a hunch and walking in with 500 validated opinions, which mathematically is better for your blood pressure. The truth might hurt for a second, but it's cheaper than being wrong. So let's get you a survey and some actual answers. Sign up for an annual plan at surveymonkey.com/whatnow and use the code WhatNow for 2 months free. That's 2 months free with code WhatNow at surveymonkey.com/whatnow. You have any questions?
Is it too late for me to run a survey about who doesn't like you in the podcast?
What do you mean, who doesn't like you? Like me?
Like you, yes. Specifically, the person in front of me.
I think surveys are supposed to be anonymous so that people's feelings don't get hurt.
But I did type anonymous there.
Well, I mean, now I'll know that you typed it because... Do you have a problem with the working conditions?
I haven't sent it.
But you want to make a survey about...
I haven't sent it yet.
You can just use the code WhatNow to get 2 months free when you do it.
Instead of 2 months to complain about you.
I feel like this got personal. Do you ever find like human world just becomes like blah because of the world you live in?
Oh yeah,
absolutely.
I have what I describe as post shoot blues.
Yeah.
So I come home from Antarctica or whatever, and I always it's usually the first couple of days when I'm sort of readjusting to a different world. Well, I mean, for me, what I struggle with is my normal life is expeditions and being far away.
Being out there.
And so I'll be like stood in a supermarket deciding what kind of salad I want to buy, and I'm looking around being like, what about penguins and icebergs? Can I just go back to doing that? It just seems so sort of insignificant
in comparison to the
this whole world and the significance and there's these dramas going on. It's really tricky to make that adjustment.
What's the worst experience you had? Like, when you're on a shoot, you're trying to do something, things did not go according to plan, an animal, or like, was there ever a moment like that? I'm sure in all the years, because how long have you been doing it now?
Just over 10 years.
Yeah. So, I mean, surely in that time, something has happened to you where you've gone, oof.
Well, the most dangerous animal on every single shoot is humans.
Boo.
Yeah, every single time. The times that I have been, in danger, it's because of a human that it's either directly from that human or the human has misinterpreted some animal body language and has put us in a dangerous situation.
Like you've been attacked by humans on a shoot somewhere.
That has happened.
Damn.
Yeah, that was quite scary.
What happened?
We were in the Arctic, and we were in a very remote camp, and one of the people we were working with, we didn't realize was a drug addict, and not really sure what he was addicted to, but we were basically, because of a storm, our supply boat was cut off. So every few days we were meant to be getting supplies with food and fuel and all kinds of things. What we didn't realize is that boat was also delivering his drugs. And while he was on the drugs, he was actually pretty functional. And he didn't get those drugs and started to, go
Damn,
pretty
that's
mad.
Scary.
And
this is in the Antarctic.
it was in the Arctic.
In the Arctic.
Yeah.
So there's nowhere to go. There's no.
No.
This seems like those movies. This seems like a perfect thriller horror movie scenario where you'd be like, it's unrealistic. Explorers, the movie starts, they're off to see the animals, the whole thing, and then they're exploring the animals, and then they're like, oh, there's a storm, we're hunkered down, oh, the boats are not coming in, Bertie, the boats are not coming, we'll be fine, oh, supplies running low, and then all of a sudden someone's just like,
Yeah, and it started out sort of, oh, that was a weird thing that he just said, and then it kind of escalated and he started making threats, and then he snapped and jumped on one of our team and was trying to strangle her, and another one of the team managed to get her off, and I get him off, and we were in polar bear country, so we carry shotguns, so there's just a lot of I remember at one point looking at this situation with him trying to get to her, and at my feet there was a shotgun for the polar bears and a paddle for a stand-up paddleboard, and I was like, okay, what am I going to pick here? And then I was like, I'm just going to use my words, and it all got very, very scary, and I ended up, we ended up managing to distract him, get her away. I won't name her. Get her away, and sort of separate the two of them. And then my job was basically to distract him long enough for the rest of the team to make a plan to find a way to get evacuated from this remote place. So the reason we were out and away from the camp was we were trying to collect fresh water, so we needed to go up the river. So we basically both went up this river into the...
Just the two of you?
We were with another guy as well, and we were distracting him and sort of, trying to keep him occupied. And what was most scary about this was he would flip-flop between being this crazy, really scary person and then being absolutely lovely, with not really any recollection of what had happened. It was sort of Jekyll and Hyde.
Terrifying.
And I remember we'd filled up the water jugs. I'd managed to stall them for about an hour, and I was on the stand-up paddleboard that we were using to transport the water jugs, and he was walking on the riverbank next to me, and I was paddling along just like, trying to keep him calm. And I remember he suddenly got really on edge and was rummaging around in his pockets, and I was like, oh God, what's he got in his pocket? Is it a gun, a knife? What is it? He looked really on edge. All of a sudden he pulls out his phone and he's like, oh, I just set up a TikTok account. I'm gonna take a video of you on the stand-up paddleboard for my TikTok. Is that okay? And I was like, this is a very strange situation to be in.
Sketchy Steve.
Sketchy Steve. Yeah. And by the time we got back to camp, the rest of the team had managed to make a plan that there was a research plane in the area, and they were able to actually land on the beach that we were on. We got our team out, and we actually made the decision to take the guy with us, because at the point that the plane arrived, he was in the good mood. So it was, and we were like, we don't want to leave him here. Did
you guys warn the pilot at least?
Because this is really like a movie.
No.
Because now on the plane, it's like, oh man, next thing you know, it's Bane.
Yeah, and then so we sort of chatted to him, and then we got him back to the town, and and then went our separate ways. And
when you tell a story like that, it makes me wonder, like, how did we, because you work in this world now, how did we get to the place where I think I'm safe in saying that more people in the world are terrified by animals than by like people.
100%.
Do you
Whereas
know what I'm saying?
I am completely the opposite.
Yeah, but how did we get there? Like, where do these myths come from? Where do they? I mean, we spoke about one earlier where I was talking about like the killer whales, and you're like, oh, they're attacking and everyone thinks this. I think a lot of people think this, and then you're like, no, one area.
Well, classic example is human fear of wolves. Okay, so there's lots of movies, Hollywood movies about wolves eating people and all this stuff. But okay, in North America, how often do you think someone gets killed by a wolf?
Sure, maybe once a year.
One time a year.
Yeah.
I'm going to say...
So sharks is between 5 and 10 a year globally.
Mm-hmm. Then I'm going to say...
So with wolves, what do you think?
Wolves, I'm going to say attacked 20 times a year.
But actually, fatal
attack.
Fatal attacks?
Yeah.
Oh, no. Fatal attacks, I'm going to say 7.
Per year?
Yeah, 7. Eugene?
I'll say 1.
Wow.
Yeah, 1 attack a year.
What if I told you that in recent history, so in the last few hundred years, that number's actually more like 2 total?
What do you mean?
In how many years?
Not average.
No. Total. Since...
No, come on, Bertie. Come on now. You're telling me we've made all these movies about a thing that happened 2 times. And
in both those times, if you actually read about them, it is not conclusive that the wolf actually did it. So then you ask the question, why? Well, who done it? Yeah, but why does our society have this incredible hatred? Little Red Riding Hood, the big bad wolf. Why as a child are we taught that wolves are so dangerous when at the same time we keep their closest living relative in our homes?
So I have a theory for this.
Okay.
But I don't know if it's right or it's wrong. When I read through like old historical accounts of like explorers and travelers, people who are going around the world hunting, one of the things I've learned is whether they were colonizers or whether they were just like hunters, one of the most powerful tools they used to justify what they were doing was turning the subject of their action into like a dangerous villain.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And so it's a lot easier, I think, to have people not judge you for killing wolves and you know what I mean, taking their furs, if you tell them that you're protecting them.
You have hit the nail on the head.
Yeah.
That is exactly why our society has this hatred towards wolves, because livestock farming is a huge part of our society, and wolves do sometimes kill livestock.
Oh.
And it is much easier to justify the killing of a wolf if everyone hates them.
Okay.
Just like, with sharks, it's only very recently that everyone's sort of waking up to the fact that sharks might actually be really important to healthy oceans, and we need healthy oceans.
Yeah.
But prior to that, with Jaws and our, fear of sharks, no one really cares that sharks were getting killed.
Yeah.
So, why would you want to, protect something that you're terrified of?
What do you think people don't get about conservation? Because you've said it a few times, it's like not just because they're cute, not just because they're nice. Like when I was growing up, that's all I watched in most nature documentaries. It was sold as like this idea of like, they won't be here anymore. That's why we need to protect them, because they won't be here anymore.
Yeah.
And then it almost seemed like it's the novelty that justifies us protecting an animal.
It's the right thing to do.
Yeah, it was just like, it's the right thing to do. This is a cute animal that you'll never get to see. That's why you need to protect it.
Which I think is a bad argument.
Yeah. Tell me more.
Well, because so nature provides so many things that we need, from clean water, productive soils, the air we breathe, the regulating our climate. We're part of this incredible life support system that's free. And it provides us with all these ecosystem services that we completely take for granted. So selfishly, we should want to look after the natural world because it's to protect ourselves. If we can look after the environment and make sure that wild systems are healthy, we make them more resilient. They can then better protect us from the effects of climate change or whatever the thing may be.
Even like disease is what I've learned on some of these things. Like
look at all of the big sort of pandemics that have happened. Most of them come from the mistreatment of domestic animals or wild animals, or it's us being very naughty.
Yeah,
and unsurprisingly, bad things happen when you're naughty. Because
I love nature documentaries, I often wonder to myself, aren't we getting in the way of evolution? Because sometimes you have those series where they show you the prehistoric relative of a certain creature.
Yeah.
But because conditions changed, humans interfered, they invaded certain spaces, the animals evolved to something else. Aren't we right now standing in the way of evolution of certain creatures because we just want to conserve the way they look now for our own selfish reasons, because we just like what this bird looks like now, but the dodo bird, was something else, and it became something else, and it became something else because life and the climate and the conditions around it changed.
Yeah, it's an interesting perspective. I guess what I would say is that evolution happens on very slow timescales, and what is different about what we are doing now, we are in in history there have been these mass extinction events, and we're now in one. When the rate of extinction goes up incredibly high, there's sort of this big purge, and I think with humans. We often talk about wanting to save the world when actually, in the long term, the planet, it's going to be just fine. It's just whether or not we exist, or whether we exist on a place that's actually, nice to be. We're not just sort of surviving.
I think that's where the groups that do these things have done really well. They have sort of participated in making us think of it as save the world, which then arrogantly puts us at the center of it again in the wrong way. It's like, do you want to save the world? And it's like, all right, world, if you need me, I'll save you. Then it's like, no, my friend, no.
Yes.
Do you want to be alive? Do you get what I'm saying? Do you want to be able to go outside and not have a summer that is literally unlivable? Do you want to be able to grow food? Do you not want an animal to come hunt your dog? Because that's the thing I think is so amazing when you watch these documentaries and you go, oh, you know why this animal is here like hunting your dog or like catching your cat? It's because where it was supposed to be, there's no more animals. There's no more prey. Do you get what I'm saying? Like polar bears I've seen are like coming further and further down now as the ice melts, right? They're just like coming more into like brown land territory, I think.
Well, I mean, yes, they're spending more time. Many polar bears spend the part of the year on the sea ice, when the ocean's frozen, and then in the summertime when the ice melts, they spend the time on land, sort of hanging out. And if they haven't managed to get enough calories during that important time when they're on the ice, they need to go looking for stuff. And so, yes, they will come into contact with, they'll humans, they live in a very sort of inert, smellless environment. And then you have a human settlement. Suddenly that's like, ooh, opportunity.
Right.
And they'll come into that. So yeah, when we mess with wild systems, that's when you get more human wildlife conflict. But I think kind of sort of taking one step back, you talk about, saving the world and that idea. I think one of the biggest communication failures in history is that we have, we've been led to believe that, climate change is about, it was just about temperature and carbon emissions, these kind of abstract terms, right?
Right.
So I can say, 400 parts per million, or
3
it's going to go by 3 degrees. Like, okay, I sort of get it, but that's basically, if you ask someone on the street that isn't a climate scientist, what's climate change about? They're going to tell you probably about carbon dioxide and temperature.
Yeah.
But they're not actually the problems. They are proxies for what the actual problem is that those two things, when they go up, lead to the destruction of nature.
Yeah.
So I feel like rather than talking about climate change and how we need to fight that, we should just be talking about the destruction of nature.
Yeah.
Because that I feel like everyone can get on board with the fact that if you cut down a really big old tree, that is a bad thing. And so if you also approach it in terms of the giant climate change, and it's such a massive problem and requires so much global cooperation in our broken, divided world, it's very easy to just throw your hands up and go, well,
nothing we
what
can
am
do.
I meant to do as an individual? Whereas if you talk about the destruction of nature, suddenly you as an individual, whether you're the CEO of a huge company or a politician or just someone with a little apartment down the road from here, you can do, okay, they're on different scales, but you can do your bit to make the planet wilder and healthier, whether that be, plant some plants in your garden that are insect pollinator friendly to help local bees, or choose to protect a huge area of ocean if you're a politician. And the thing I love about that is that it's actionable and you will see quantifiable positive change. If you plant a bunch of wildflowers in your garden, you will see a bunch of insects coming to those that weren't there before. And isn't that cool?
The fact that everyone can have an impact even on the tiniest
exactly.
level.
We talked about those CEOs, they're interested in ROIs. Well, there you go. Do a thing, gets better. That's the problem with yes, of course, we need to look at our individual carbon footprints or changing our diets to consume less or no meat. All these things you can do. It's very hard to quantify the impact of those things. If you choose not to fly tomorrow, well, the global temperature isn't going to come down because of your one action. You should still think about doing it. Whereas when it comes to rewilding the planet, you will see a quantifiable positive change. And people don't like being told to stop doing things.
Yeah.
Oh, that's true.
But what about if you do a thing and then it makes a better thing? You know what I mean? I just think it's a much more positive, proactive
It is
approach.
actually. It is a proactive approach.
But here's where I'm often conflicted when it comes to conservationists and nature documentary makers is, for example, you'd go to the Ngorongoro crater, shoot a bunch of animals, right? Put that out on television. People all of a sudden are interested in going and seeing these animals. Now all of a sudden there's 50,000 Land Rovers there disturbing the exact same thing that you try to do.
Yeah, it's a great point. So I'm really glad you point this up, brings up. So in my new show on Disney Plus, Cheetahs Up Close, we filmed cheetahs in the Serengeti, and
because cheetahs are going to be extinct, right?
Cheetahs
they're pretty much gone.
Not doing well.
Yeah.
So there's less cheetahs in the wild than there are lions, less cheetahs in the wild than there are rhinos. It's not good.
Yeah.
But for some reason, I think maybe because they're really, really fast, everyone thinks they're okay.
Yeah.
But
the metabolism, slim waist, would gain you a lot of enemies
because they're fast. They're okay. They do it.
And David Attenborough summarized it really well, that we're loving these animals to death because where they are. People want to go see cheetahs, and in places where tourism is badly managed, they get surrounded by vehicles. They can't sneak up on their prey. They can't see bigger predators coming for them and their cubs, the hyenas, the lions, which is actually the biggest challenge that cheetahs face. And so what I would say to that is wildlife tourism is an amazing thing if managed correctly, because it gives a value to those animals alive. If you look at it in many places where, as an example, I did a show that came out on Disney Plus a few months ago called Dolphins Up Close in the Azores Islands, which is a group of islands off Portugal, exactly, in the Atlantic. And that community used to thrive on whaling. That was their big industry. And interviewed this amazing whaler called Daniel. He'd spent his life whaling and spotting whales. And him and the community realized that actually people wanted to go see these whales, and they are worth more alive than dead. And so he now...
It's also more sustainable.
Well, he now spots the whales, and instead of calling a whaling boat onto them to harpoon them, he calls in a boat full of tourists to go in and take pictures. Now, of course, there is the potential for that boat to be disturbing, but if managed correctly, it's a much better thing. Because I feel like in an ideal world, okay, maybe you could say that, well, we should protect these places and then leave them alone and keep all the people out. But conservation is as much about the animals as it is about the humans that live in that place. And those animals, sadly, in our capitalist world, have to have an economic value to incentivize protecting them. So, of course, there's the intrinsic value of looking after these animals. They're cute, they're wonderful, it's the right thing to do. But we need the extrinsic value, which is the economic one, to make it, ironically sustainable in the long term.
It's the paradox of everything these days. If you don't have an economic, like, have you seen how if they try like a program, let's say in Scandinavia, I saw they were piloting a 4-day work week and whatever. People in the US were like, we'll never do that. In many places they're like, this is stupid. And then someone wrote a paper about the economic benefits of it. And then all of a sudden companies were like, yeah, we're going to try this. We're gonna try it. They're like, you'll actually get more.
There's a financial incentive.
But look, that is the world we live in now. You have to show the economics something. Traffic doesn't get dealt with until somebody shows a politician how much a city is losing because of that traffic.
But you can get very sad and cynical about it. But actually, it's like, well, let's just play the game by their rules.
Yeah, exactly.
And then we can all agree.
Yeah, for every cheetah that dies, this is how much money you're losing in tourism. This is how much money you will lose this is how much money you will lose. This is, you know what I mean?
So
it's really interesting if you find the right incentive.
Totally. When we were there with the cheetahs, the reason that national park exists and isn't just a giant cow farm or cow pasture is because of the money being brought in from each of the tourists that goes there. Now, we saw that in some places it is badly managed.
Right.
So, and actually a study came out that showed that cheetah cub survival was much lower in places that had a lot of tourism.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Badly managed tourism. So this isn't just like, I feel like this is a bad thing when that cheetah family gets surrounded by cars. No, it's been proven. So therefore, it's really important that we do it correctly. And so that is, it's on the guide, but I think also it's on us as people that go there and are guests in these places to ask questions, because the guides are under huge amounts of pressure there. Safaris, for various reasons, have traditionally been incredibly expensive and so very exclusive. Whereas now, mass tourism, cheaper tourism is becoming possible, and it means that just to make the economics of the trip work, if you're selling it for cheap, people will go on safari not for a week, they will go for 1 day.
Yeah.
Now, the guide, he will get a really big tip if he manages to find all 5 of the best animals, right?
Yeah,
so he's just got to rip around and for some reason now that we all have a phone and not rather than bringing a normal camera, we now expect to get really close to everything to get a good picture of it.
Geez.
So we would follow these cheetahs from a distance, and then over the radio, we were a filming car and they knew what we were doing, so they always knew, filming car, they're good at finding the cheetahs. We had
they'll follow you.
We had these amazing guides that would find stuff. All the vehicles would come to us, and we've created this horrible problem where now this cheetah family is surrounded by cars very close.
And the cubs can't hear their mom's call.
All that stuff. So we'd watch, and people they'd drive, rather than sitting, 100 meters away, 50 meters away, like we would with our really powerful technology. They would drive all the way up, and so that the guide got a tip, they want to be in a good position, they'd lean out and take a picture on their phone of the cheetah right there. And so actually, yes, you could blame that on the guide. Okay, it's his, he needs to sort of
feed his family.
Well, yeah, but he needs to educate the tourists on, But actually, I think it's equally as much our responsibility to go, hang on.
I blame the phone companies. Why aren't they making better cameras that can
make
zoom
longer
in more?
zooms?
But
make more wildlife zooms so that people can zoom in. We need longer telephoto lenses. So get on it, phone companies.
It's amazing how
you know what we should also do.
No, you joke, but it's a good point.
You know what we should also do is you should start making I don't know how we'll do this ethically. We'll figure it out. We make scam nature documentaries where you just tell people there's animal, but there's nothing there. And you just go welcome to the jungles of Long Island where we found, and then you just diffuse people. You know what I mean?
Oh, right.
Some people are going to get bamboozled. You don't have to put those out because Disney won't buy those, but just put them out online And it can just be like
spread the humans
yeah,
out.
yeah. You know what I mean? And just like make a thing and be like, guys, I found this place where you can see cheetahs for really cheap, and then just send them somewhere random.
Spread them all out. Yeah.
This is, you know what I mean?
I think those
we diffuse the thing.
those cameras work just fine. I've seen them being used at Beyonce concerts. People are sitting way at the back at the nosebleeds, but they're able to zoom in.
Yeah, they do
and
make
see
it
her.
seem like they're in
But
front.
all of a sudden, when there's a cheetah, you need to get closer and closer and closer.
I think the other thing that seems to be a disconnect, I think, especially in our sort of, I think it used to be that when you watched, BBC Planet Earth documentaries, that was kind of the only sort of, the only sort of huge, amazing way to see a video of a whale, right? Whereas now, you scroll through Instagram, you're just bombarded with everything. So I think we sort of normalized it. And so now when lots of people do get to go to these amazing wild places, which I think is a great thing, for all the, reasons we talked about, they sort of forget that actually this is a wild place and all these animals, this isn't a zoo. It's not this abstract world that's in your phone. Like, it's a real thing, and actions that you take will decide whether or not this animal lives or dies.
But
like, the stakes are that high. And I think it's sort of reminding people to that you've got to have this respect.
I think it actually might sound very trivial, but you are at Disney, and Disney has made a lot of cartoons. I think animating and giving animals personalities has sort of skewed the way people should look at animals and not try to find out what the animals' personalities are, like you're explaining.
But I would argue in a way, though, that is sort of a traditional sort of documentary approach is look at the grandeur of this amazing place, and isn't it? And whereas
cartoons.
Well, or even now, I guess more recent nature documentaries, we do try and personify the characters.
Yeah, they're fully characters now.
And I think it's probably gone too far, but it is a way to sort of engage people and get people to fall in love, rather than just it being this like beautiful wallpaper.
We'll be right back after this short break. Eugene, I don't know about you, man, but sometimes planning a romantic evening is one of the most stressful things, because there's that specific type of performance art that comes with a romantic night out. It's like you're sitting in a restaurant and you realize you've just paid a premium to have a room of strangers watch you eat bread while you try and have a private conversation. It's exhausting, you know what I mean?
It is.
But I realized recently, if you want to skip the theater and the crowds, Whole Foods Market is the place to plan the perfect, indulgent, and romantic evening at home. Picture this. You see, you skip the extra trip to the flower shop, and instead, you explore the Whole Foods Market floral department full of gorgeous, quality flowers with large blooms, vibrant colors, and strong stems. Bunches, bouquets, and even vase arrangements are available. Ooh, why stop there? We can also skip the dinner reservation, start our sizzling hot evening in the kitchen, just us. We could serve a surf and turf made with quality, no antibiotic ever steaks, plus seafood that must be sustainable, wild caught, or responsibly farmed. We'll then pair that dinner with a bottle of wine from the incredibly in-depth Whole Foods Market selection. Say cheers with a sparkling rosé, or choose ready-to-drink cocktails.
Yeah.
Must be 21 or older. Please drink responsibly. Taste the love all month at Whole Foods Market. By the way, that wasn't our date. I just got carried away, and then your hand was there, and then
I totally understand, but like they say, there's no free dinners, clearly.
No, you don't owe me anything. We didn't even have the dinner.
I'm 41.
What do you think we could take from the animals? I often wonder this, like that Dolphin bachelor crew that you're talking about.
I knew we were going to circle
Why
back to that.
Why do you choose bachelor instead of...
Good, that's what he said.
Yeah,
he said
it's a technical term. Yeah,
okay. Don't try that with me. Hey buddy. Hey, buddy. Hey. I already have a rap sheet with you. Don't add more things unnecessarily.
Hey.
No, like I remember seeing that, and I found myself wondering. I was like, are there any things we could take from nature? Do you ever see things where you're like, oh yeah, this could probably work for us as humans. We should be doing this. This could be like a way of life. This could be you know what I mean?
I don't know if this answers your question, but it's just popped into my mind that wild animals' lives are really, really hard.
Yeah.
But they are really good at doing what they do, and that's how they thrive.
Mm-hmm.
And
really
so
hard.
They're really hard.
They're really good at what they do.
Right.
Okay.
They really focus. So what I take from that is, okay, for whatever I do, I've got to do my best to get really, really good at it.
Oh, okay. I like this.
And I'm not saying that.
No. Specialize. It's like really go into
go
into something, get good at it.
Yeah. Try and do your best to try and become like a master of it, because that's how you. I'm not saying.
Eugene, what would you say you are a master at if you were to say one thing? You can't pick comedy. It has to be something else.
I'm gonna ref sheet with you, my friend.
and then actually, I want to show you a video to show you how hard some animals' lives.
No,
are.
show us what you got. Show us what you got.
Okay.
You have the most wholesome, camera roll of any human being I know.
You can get any girl.
Like just any.
There's no one.
Okay, yeah. So this is a female Puma, mountain lion, called Puma. And she is hunting a guanaco, which is like a wild llama.
She is so close.
She's got to be within 30 meters now. I think she's gonna go. Yeah, here she goes. She's going.
Who are you cheering for?
Got it.
The llama?
No, the mountain lion.
Really?
Yeah. No. Go, Pataka, go. Oh my God, what a fight. She's got it. The guanaco's still fighting. It's trying to buck her off. So my point is, animals have really hard lives.
Whoa, but you can't just go and say my point is after that. There's so many thoughts I had after that video.
Too.
Eugene will ask his questions, and then I'm going to ask my questions.
Okay, break it down.
First of all, mine's not really it's a question for society, really. Mm-hmm. Why don't we make that the experience when we're getting like takeout? You know
Imagine having to do they have to do that
just
once a week
time,
for their whole life.
And I'm saying this selfishly as somebody
once a week
who, you know,
once a week.
Yeah, because like
life.
sometimes I'm like, hey man, it's so easy to eat the foods that I'm eating. And then I'm just putting on weight and I'm like, man, I just wish it would be great if I walked into a takeout place and then immediately had to get into it.
Jiu-jitsu hold.
Can I get the
chef?
2 piece. You want four pieces? Bring out more. Can I get fries? Bring out another one.
Get kicked in the face.
I mean, it would be good for society.
It's so unprofessional.
It would be good for society.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then at the end of it, when you're eating your fries, and then everyone's there bleeding and stuff, and they're like, how the hell is it here? And it's dope.
Really good fries.
But you would eat less of it. You know what I mean? Like that animal looks like it's crazy in shape. How many times does that hunt have to happen for that animal to survive?
So that's an individual called Pataka. So she's like a
so
known
that for that
individual.
puma to survive, how many times does Pataka have to do that?
So she had her and her two cubs. She has to take down a guanaco, sort of a big wild llama like that, maybe once every 7 to 10 days.
Yo.
For her whole life.
Guy struggle every
and
take down a guanaca.
And what's crazy?
The local bar is a guanaca. What it's been? How long has it been? Barman, lubricate the guanaca.
Oh my!
We can relate to this.
I love how you're also cheering for. So how do you?
No,
choose, wait. How do you choose which animal to cheer for?
Well, that's a tough one because, you know, as
We're talking
a
about the
wildlife
kids, no?
camera person, we are, you know, we can, you know, never get involved. And so, you know, it's important to try to, I guess we're
Bertie,
normally told to not
Bertie,
get emotionally
You were
attached.
really involved.
You were screaming,
I
"Go
heard you say,
Pataka!
"Go
Pataka! Joking!
But what I mean by
Kill it,
I
Pataka!
was very emotionally
Kill
involved.
him
Yeah.
dead, Pataka!"
Guanaca's lives don't matter.
Put you in the comment, go Pataka! Camera shaking. Pataka, kill him!
And they're sticking a leg out trying to trip it up.
You sounded like Joe Rogan and UFC. Oh,
Get him! Get him!
So what I was going to say, if I was allowed to finish, was we are normally told to not get emotionally
Yes.
attached, but often when you spend all day, every day following an individual animal for a month
Yeah.
or two, and you know the stakes because you know it's cubs that it has to feed.
Yeah, yeah.
I feel like often people want to choose the side of the prey because that's the thing being attacked, and I think that's often because prey is very cute.
Yes.
But my point often is, well, if we're going to play by those rules and based on cuteness, baby predators are usually the cutest
They're the
animals,
most
like
adorable.
a baby mountain
Yeah,
lion.
they
Oh
are.
my god, they're
Yeah.
so cute.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't think that's good logic, but that's sort of a side note there. But my point is with Pataka, her life is incredibly hard, but she is so good at doing that. She
one.
has mastered that.
She's
She's like
that.
an Olympic athlete.
Yeah.
And,
I really like that
Pataka,
one.
ne?
Yeah,
She's a single black mom.
yeah, that's fighting hard.
Yeah.
My two cubs,
Fighting
and
the system,
I'm going in there.
Two carbs, public schooling.
Going in there, doing it. Can I say, like, that also is a valuable lesson for life, though. Is
Don't be a single black mom.
that one's the hardest thing to be.
Sure.
If you are going to, or rather, if we lived in a world where we were more able to see and spend time with other people, we might have a little more compassion for the situation that they're in. Because think about it. This is a random puma. And then just because you spent time observing her and her life with her cubs, you now had a vested interest in her survival.
And success.
Yeah, and I almost feel like if we just had a little bit of that in society, just think
It's just empathy, isn't it?
yeah, but it's contact. And I mean, we've talked about this. You know, I'm a big believer in this. This is part of why I love pickleball, and I always tell you these things. But like, if you meet people and if you spend time with them, you're just more likely to be concerned about their well-being and who they are and how they are. And the further we are from them, the less we're likely to consider them and their survival.
But bring it back to the wolves we talked about. If you actually spend time with wolves in the wild, which I've been very lucky enough to have done, you very quickly realize that they are not these sort of mindless man-eating killers.
Yes.
They have these amazing social systems, and they are so stoked to be alive and in a pack, and they
Love community.
They love you. Oh my God, they love each other so much. It is so lovely. You know when like if
show
you have a
affection.
dog and you come home and the dog, they do that, but there's like 10 of them and there's no humans and they're just having a great party with each other and sniffing each other and having an
That's
awesome time.
pickleball.
That's pickleball. Yeah.
Is it true that one of the greatest threats to these wild systems is how we're expanding farming?
I mean, in the case of wolves, I mean, conflict with livestock, but I guess it comes back to that empathy of if we don't spend time with them, documenting their lives, showing how amazing and awesome that they are, but they're not individuals, they're just wolves at a faraway place. It's very easy for someone to go along and be shooting them and going, terrible, evil wolves. It's that.
It's a double-edged sword, right?
You need that view into their world.
So what were your questions about the video?
That video was heartbreaking.
For why?
I mean, when the person shooting the video has clearly chosen a side. And as the llama, you're hearing, you're fighting for your life. There's a guy there in a North Face jacket shouting for your death while your own llama kids are watching you. feel like most of it.
It's kind of fair. Yeah, it's kind of fair. I guess if you would like the context, I can make a
sure.
I can make a shameless plug. If you watch the whole episode, it's part of a series called Animals Up Close on Disney Plus. You can meet Pataka, you can see her cubs, you can see the stakes, the challenges that she faces, and why hunting guanaco is very challenging. And far more often, the guanaco wins.
I mean,
the guanaco wins.
That stamping
Far
was.
often than not.
Far more often, yeah.
Far more often.
Most of the time, the pumas fail. They get bucked off and have terrible
How many
injuries.
pumas are there, and how many guanacos are there?
There's a lot more guanacos.
That's what
than
I'm
pumas.
assuming.
Yeah.
Yo, did you see how that thing was stamping on it?
Yeah, they've got the crazy neck dip.
That they do,
move.
like-
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, what a strategy.
yeah.
Yeah, you're
It's
like,
like
you want to
slams-
jump on my back and crawl on my neck, I'm going to neck dip you.
You know what? Actually, you brought up farming, and I think farming has done a lot for conservation as well. I was watching this one piece about sturgeon and how wild sturgeon had almost become
Well, what is sturgeon?
As in the fish.
The fish that they use for caviar.
Oh, okay.
So they
Crazy
I'm not familiar
dinosaur.
with fish.
Oh, yes,
on a first name
prehistoric
basis.
looking
They're
fish.
amazing
Yeah.
animals.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gigantic.
What, that
So-
one with the face like that?
Yeah.
Aha,
Okay,
no.
then what face was this now? What face was this?
Was
now?
it wrong?
No, I
Was it right?
I don't know, because I'm asking.
I'm looking at it, Mina. Here,
Was that the one?
I think
you've seen wild animals before. What is this?
I think
Do it
it's-
again.
Is it close?
Are you sure? Yeah.
Oh.
I think it's fine. Anyway,
I'm just trying to clarify which fish.
keep going.
Sorry, sturgeon. Carry on.
Keep going.
It sounds like a prestigious person, a sturgeon. So what
Every
they've-
time he says the word sturgeon from now, we're going to do an impression of sturgeon.
So what they've realized is sturgeon was almost extinct. Don't do that. was almost extinct because obviously they were being killed for their eggs. But it actually takes very long for a sturgeon to reach full maturity so that it can bear
so
eggs.
they can bear the eggs.
Yes, so they were getting extinct. So in the EU, they said no more wild sturgeon. So most of the caviar that you see now comes from farmed.
Oh, as in fish farming.
Fish farming, yes.
Right.
So it's done a lot, obviously, for nature conservation. They do it with
Whoa.
lobster.
Does that
with-
count as nature conservation, though?
Let's back it up.
Why not?
Well, I would say that I don't know specifically a huge amount about the particular example with sturgeon, but if you look at other systems, for example, farmed salmon or even tuna, which is ranched, it's often used as a way to say, oh, this is much more sustainable because we're not affecting wild stocks, we're raising them in captivity. But actually, the reality is that is complete and utter BS.
Why?
Okay, you take tuna, for example. So bluefin tuna, previously, let's take the Mediterranean, for example. They would go on this crazy migration in the Atlantic, and then some of them come into the Mediterranean Sea to breed. And so they would go past certain European countries a couple times a year on their way into the Mediterranean and on their way out. So these countries would get 2 chances to fish them each year when they swam past.
On the way in and the way out.
And what would happen was they would fish a huge amount during that period. They would sell them mostly to the Japanese sushi market.
Okay.
And it's classic supply and demand. You sell lots of tuna, you flood the market, the price drops. So what they realized is instead of fishing them and killing them, what if they ranched them? So they would go catch a whole bunch, they would put them in these huge nets, and they would keep them alive in these nets throughout the year. So then they could sell them when the price was right. And it was often said, oh, well, this takes pressure off of hunting more from the wild.
I mean, that seems right.
Well, there's 2 flaws to this. One is if you're catching a huge amount, well, you're still removing them from the wild. You're not actually farming those. But the bigger issue is, okay, I visited one tuna ranch, okay, and they had 24 nets. In each net, they had 1,000 bluefin tuna, and these bluefin tuna
Those things are massive.
They can be 2 to 300 kilos. These fish, they're enormous. So 1,000 fish in one net. Guess how much food you have to feed 1,000 bluefin tuna per day?
Oh, shit.
So
tons
what?
and tons, I'm sure.
6 to 10 tons of fish per net. This one ranch had 24 nets. That means they are feeding that farm up to 240 tons of prey fish per day.
That has to come from somewhere.
Where does that come from? It comes from anywhere in the ocean around the world. So once a week, this enormous ship would turn up with herring from Norway, anchovies from the coast of Chile, sardines from the coast of South Africa, wherever it was cheap. And these fish would get poured into these nets. We were catching fish to feed fish.
This sort of
the worst thing about
So we're just hoovering up the. This is the
the worst thing
makes sense.
the worst thing about learning is that it can make you very depressed.
Yeah, 100%.
No, genuinely, because I think there's a lot of people out there, myself included, who would go like, "Oh, this is much better."
Yeah.
Because you're farming it, and then now you're telling me, "Oh yeah, the second system effect of doing this has far more detrimental effects on the food supply and on the ecosystem than we thought previously." So then, okay, then what do we do? I mean, that is part of the reason I've always liked your work as well. Is every time I've seen you, every time I've watched your videos, you'll always offer a solution. You'll always you don't just go like, "Man, that's all, folks. It sucks."
Right. Because there's enough depressing stuff in the world.
Yeah. What are some of the success stories that you've come across or you've been a part of where you go, "Oh, look, this is like an achievable difference we can make. It's not big, it's not monumental, it's not like shutting down industries. It's not what are some of the
Totally. Well, I mean, a really staying with the theme of the ocean, the really amazing thing about the ocean is that if you give it the chance, it comes back on an unbelievable scale. The speed. So a really awesome conservation success story. There's a place called Raja Ampat in Indonesia. It's this amazing archipelago. It looks like something out of a storybook. It's all these little islands covered in green jungle, and around those islands underwater is some of the most amazing coral reef. But in many places in Raja Ampat, you dive on those places and it's just a rubble field because they've been dynamite fished. So that's when fishermen would come along, they would chuck a stick of dynamite into the water, it goes bang,
Stun the fish.
all the fish come up to the surface, dead, stunned. You get a quick, easy catch. But of course, the fragile coral reef is left destroyed. That coral reef is the basis of the whole ecosystem. And so once you've trashed that bit of reef, well, it's gone. You have to move to the next place. Now, if you're doing that on a very small scale, okay, maybe that could work, but there's lots of people and so it was trashed. So about 20 years ago, in a place called Mizul, the community came together and they were backed by pretty significant private philanthropy. They came together and they said, enough is enough. The ecosystem is dying, and as a fishing community, we are really, really struggling. So they basically just set up a no-take zone. You're not allowed to fish in it. Many of the fishermen became kind of rangers. Some of them became dive guides. And 20 years on, they've made this place has made an extraordinary comeback. And in that time, the biomass, so that's the weight of living things, at some of the key locations, it's gone up by 600%. And it's one of the only places on Earth where the biodiversity, so that's the number of different species, is actually increasing. And they're also replanting the coral reef. And so the coolest thing about that is that, okay, nature's thriving. Humans are directly thriving because, they're being paid to be rangers and dive guides and all that stuff. But the best part is that the marine life doesn't understand the borders that we draw. Yeah. So it moves outside of those protected areas into the take zone. And so the local fishing community is actually doing really well.
Yeah.
It's so trivial to say, but it really is. It really feels like everything you say is just us not having a wide enough aperture to actually understand time and the benefits of things.
You have to make a small, short-term sacrifice for a long-term, massive gain.
Yeah.
Not just economic.
It's all become extractive now. That's the issue, is like, we live in a world where companies want to extract as much as possible from everyone all the time, as much as possible.
And now.
And so growth has no longer been something, and you see that it's not one way or the other, by the way. there are many companies out there, especially like companies that haven't gone public, where they make a shit ton of money, and the product is still good, and the customer is still served, and they treat their workers well, because they get to define their own growth.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? They don't have to just like vacuum up
Shareholder value.
everything. Yeah, shareholder value. Like where's more. It's like, yeah, it can be more,
Sustainably.
but sustainably.
I do wonder if in X period of time, 10, 20 years, we'll look back on this time, we look back on, certain things that we've done in the past that we were like, those people were really bad. That was really bad. And, when we look at, things like slavery or colonization, and I wonder if in the future we're going to look back on certain things that we're doing to the environment now and go,
oh yeah,
what do you mean you did that for shareholder? What do you mean shareholder value?
Yeah.
Like what's going on there?
I think you're assuming we'll still all be around for that, because this is the weird thing. The other day I started like reading about extinction level events. Mm-hmm. One thing that's most terrifying about them is how it's just like a tipping point. It's just like one thing that tips, and then all of a sudden
it unravels.
Yeah, it just unravels. It's like, oh, you lost this much forest, or at a certain time this changed in the atmosphere, and then all of a sudden all the trees died, and then that caused a thing, and this caused. But it's just like, it's just a tipping point, and then the world has to go to sleep for a few hundred years or 1,000 years, and then
this got very dark and depressing. And so what I would say is that, yes, we obviously have big challenges, but there are so many good news conservation success stories.
Now you're gonna see why I love Bertie.
There are so many, and not to say that we should bury our heads in the sand and ignore the rest of the world. No. But if we focus on when we've got it right, rather than going naughty, this is what you did wrong. Mm-hmm. I feel like it comes back to that thing of if you're told not to do something,
you will do it.
Yeah, you're going to do it. Whereas if you're told what you can do. Inspire and celebrate the wins.
So what's the thing that's inspired you most recently, where you've gone like, oh, this? What are you working on right now? Actually, like you always, every time I see you, you're working on something more crazy and more interesting, and it just goes in the most random directions.
So I'm working on a couple different projects with Disney Plus. It's really exciting. Continuing my Up Close series.
Yeah.
So in each episode, we go and.
Do animals ever recognize you? By the way.
That's funny. Like, aren't you that guy?
No, I'm being serious.
Was cheering when my mom.
Are you the Pataka guy? No, what I mean this genuinely, because you go back to some places, I'm assuming. I wonder if you've ever encountered any animal that has in some way shown you a familiar, like, because you know the animals is what I'm saying.
Right.
Have you ever had that encounter where an animal has sort of like gone like, oh shit, obviously not going like Bertie's
so in the case of Pataka, so the reason that I know her is that when she was a cub, when she was 6 months old, in 2017, I filmed her for a BBC David Attenborough series called 7 Worlds, and I was filming her mother, Sarmiento, and Sarmiento was fighting to protect her cubs, and feed her cubs and raise her cubs. And one of those cubs was Pataka. She was 6 months old. She was this little fluffy
Bertie,
cub.
This is the context you should have given us earlier. We thought you were just out here cheering for a murderer. You've known her since she was a child.
So then I went back, 4 or 5 years later, and now she has not only survived, which is a big deal for Puma cubs because they don't have great survival rates, but she was now her mother had passed away, Sarmiento, and now she'd taken over her mother's territory and was raising her own cubs. Now, it felt like going back to see this long-lost friend. And obviously she was just like,
I don't know you.
Who are you?
I think if you do it long enough, it'll happen. I genuinely do. Here's what, and maybe it's the types of animals. Don't get me wrong. I'm not expecting a crocodile to be your friend, but I do think like an elephant, maybe a whale. I'm willing to. We'll have this conversation.
Why not a crocodile?
Okay,
I don't think crocodiles roll like that.
Why?
I
just don't.
I was recently on a project that hopefully Disney will be okay with me talking about it because it's not the main focus of the show. But I did meet a manta ray. Okay.
Oh wow!
Like
huge, giant oceanic manta ray.
Yeah.
5 meter plus wingspan.
5 meters. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I don't think they could get that big.
Yeah,
Moana's
big.
grandmother did.
Yeah.
That
Oh.
was beautiful imagery, Eugene. I hate it when you do that to me, but I love
And
it.
manta rays have, relative to their body size, the largest brain of any fish. They're actually incredibly intelligent, and they pass the mirror test, so they can recognize themselves,
Yeah.
which is pretty mind-boggling.
Uh-huh.
But this particular manta ray, she came over to us on our first dive at this particular location, and she was really friendly. And she sort of parked over our heads. And I won't tell you what she did, because that would be giving the game away as to
Okay,
what the
cool.
episode's about. We'll park that down the road. But what was amazing was that for the rest of the 5 days that we were at this location, every single time we got in the water, she would come and find us.
See, this is what I was asking.
Now, the question is, okay, they are technically capable of differentiating between humans.
Uh-huh.
So, was she just a massive attention seeker and went to go and be really nice to everyone? Or was there something special about us and she wanted to come hang out
I think
with
we
us?
know the answer,
I
Bertie.
hope it's the latter, but
I think it's
maybe
we know
not.
that she had a Disney Plus subscription. She was like, "That's Bertie," and then she was like, "Let me go say what's up."
She's like, I want to be in
And
that
Moana
show.
is on Disney.
Oh yeah, Moana's also on Disney.
Also
Look
on
at this; it's a collaboration.
Cross-pollination.
Eugene. We've
Good
done,
work.
huh? This is what they call synergy in the corporate world. Synergy, Eugene. They'll love you, and you must go to corporate one day. You got to go and do it.
Yeah.
Bertie, this has been amazing, man. I'm really excited for like everything. I just like, because I'll tell you why. Because you've helped me, and I think millions of other people who've watched the shows understand the link between the worlds, and not in like a cheesy way, just genuine in like a like ROI kind of way. You've really helped people go like, oh wow, all right, we need that animal, we need all of these animals, we need these creatures to survive, so that we can get our food, so that we can live our lives, so that we can, you know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I love the fact that you emphasize that, because humans always think they can go elsewhere. Like if things don't work out in this reef, they can go somewhere else.
Planet
My man.
B.
Planet
My
yes,
man.
and then Planet B.
This guy.
But
Sorry, carry on.
but now you've made it possible, or for me to even imagine that we must coexist with the animals that we've displaced. We don't have to be away from the Ngorongoro crater to be close to the animals or to love them even. We can be there. We can't love them to death. But I think you've done a lot, man. And I hadn't known much about you until we spoke today, and I see your passion, and I see why my friend here loves you so much.
Oh, well, thanks very much for having me, guys. It's
Yeah,
good,
man.
good
Bertie.
to chat and getting people to care about animals in the natural world. And I would encourage people wherever they live, even if it's in the middle of a city, even if it's like here in New York, this city is home to the fastest animal on earth, peregrine falcon, that will be hunting off the skyscrapers not far from this very room. So it doesn't matter where you live.
I've always wondered if I was really seeing those.
It doesn't matter where you live. There is
I
amazing
genuinely
wildlife
thought,
to be found.
I was like, that looks like a falcon. Then I was like, Trevor, it's a pigeon. Clearly it's a pigeon. You can't just see a falcon in New York City.
Yeah, you can. Yeah,
But
yeah.
you can.
Yeah.
Huh.
So, yeah.
Give us a tip for how to sneak up on animals as you depart, like in a good way. Because when you said that, I was like, oh, I want to get close and like, what are the do's and don'ts?
Well, the most important thing is knowing your subject, knowing the
okay.
animal, and I think just spending time outside. I know that sounds
So
kind of
first
obvious.
be outside.
Be outside.
First rule,
Yeah.
be outside.
Go look
Alright.
knowing the animal, and you want to know as much about it, do as much homework as you can about it, research about it.
So don't just go out there.
Don't
learn on the job.
No, learn on the job for sure. But the reason that it's good to know things
Yeah.
or
Yes.
be with someone that knows things is because, one, that means you've got a greater chance of actually finding it in the first place,
Oh,
this is true.
and understanding what the heck it's
This is
doing
true,
when it's
yeah.
flying around or doing whatever. But the other thing is, coming back to that loving them to death, you make sure that you can understand the cues that it gives off when
Yes.
it's comfortable with you being there, uncomfortable,
Yes.
so that we make sure that when we're watching animals, it's on their terms and they
This
are.
is
Yeah.
this is exactly why I only go to like a nightclub or a bar with Eugene, because then he can help me spot the situations And then Eugene will be like, whoa, 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 whoa.
He's interpreting the wildlife.
Yeah, Eugene goes like, don't say hi. Calm down. Don't make eye contact with that guy.
Yeah, absolutely.
Shake your hips here, Trevor. And then, that's how
Because before me, he used to just feed on carcasses.
Sort of works as an analogy.
I made a terrible mistake engaging you at all. Yo, Bertie,
it was nearly really wholesome.
Thanks so much. No, man, but thank you. Thanks for indulging. This was fun, man.
Thank you,
Appreciate
Bertie.
it.
Thanks,
Oh, man, this is great. Thank you so much for watching the episode. If you enjoyed it, pass it on to a friend. If you didn't enjoy it, pass it on to your friend still. Let them suffer for a change. And don't forget to engage with us in the comments. If you want to suggest a guest, maybe there's questions you want, maybe there's ideas that you have, you can chat to us. We will read through the comments and we'll get into it. Either way, I appreciate you taking the time. Thank you for hanging out with us on What Now? And remember, we do this for you, so we would like to hear from you. Till next time, thank you.